get a background like yours. Pick a book
Pick a
online.
book. Oh, okay. Yeah, I can send you one, but right now we have only 1 minute.
Let me
So,
try.
yeah, you can try no other backgrounds. Maybe you can take library background.
Okay. I've never tried. Let me before people join. Background, right?
Yes, virtual background. But
Okay.
you have to download one first.
Oh my God. So
Yeah.
maybe you can mail me.
Okay.
Are you on the? Okay. I think yeah. We don't have much time.
We
Else
don't.
you could have mailed me. I would have downloaded and maybe.
Yeah. True. Okay. No issues.
I'll try. I'll try and illuminate my background a bit.
Okay.
Not that I look any better, but yeah, maybe less dark.
That's okay.
So, which city are you guys from?
Actually, right now, the three people you see on the panel here, I'm from Visakhapatnam, the other girl is from Vijayawada, the other boy is from Sri Lanka. So,
Oh my God. So I
so
always assume South Indians are better book readers. So I don't know what somebody from North like me is doing. In fact, long ago I had started reading at the behest of a Kerala friend of mine, a friend of mine from Kerala.
Okay.
So she gifted me a book titled as The Love Story, Love Story
Okay.
by Eric Siegel. So that was my first book there my reading journey had begun sometime in 2008. And then
Okay.
So I've been reading after that.
Good,
So
good.
South Indian had a role to play from Kerala.
So now you're getting interviewed by a South Indian as well. So how are you? Like, I mean, what is your, I know that you are a CA and you run a firm. So other than that, how are you? Like, you're the head of that organization or
I'm a qualified chartered accountant. We have a family business of construction.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so I can't see your.
Can't see me.
Yeah, okay. So we have a family business of building, construction, hospitality, and we are also into education.
Oh,
So I happen to be a qualified chartered accountant, doing things which a chartered accountant normally does not do. So I'm selling, running around
okay.
here and there, licensing, and.
Okay.
So
So, but then you have a greater advantage being a CA and being in that business. So you know how to tackle the financials well.
so I'm director of finance at my family, business where it is run by three brothers. So I'm the youngest.
Okay.
But then I look after sales, marketing, and finance.
Okay.
So,
Good.
and then I say I'm a CA, but then I have many more qualifications to my credit.
Oh, okay.
Executive management program from SPJ in 2009 to 11. I'm a PhD in commerce, so I'm a doctor.
Oh my goodness.
Commerce. Then I'm a registered valuer for companies. I'm an insolvency professional.
Oh.
I'm in the process of completing my CMA from Australia.
Oh.
I'm still studying at 41. So yeah. So the learning journey. So the kids in the house have started asking me not to study because
Not to study, not to compete with them.
I'm putting up a lot of pressure, more mental pressure upon them.
That's wonderful. Very good to know that.
So CA being the primary qualification. So I always. And then yesterday when Deepthi was asking for details, I was terribly occupied yesterday, day before.
Okay.
So I really had no time.
Okay.
Whatever I could lay my hand on, I just sent it to her.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to speak to you as well so that I'll get some idea. Today I tried contacting Anshu to get to connected with you, but she was busy with being a Women's Day. I think she was busy with a lot of meetings.
Oh my God, everybody is busy.
Everybody's busy. Yeah.
Recently, thanks to Anshuji, I'll show you my book. Just 1 second.
Okay.
I just hope I can write in English and maybe you can appreciate it sometime more. So this is my Hindi poetry compilation of 108 poetries.
Wow.
So that I've written over the past few years.
Oh, you have so many wings in your hat, so many feathers in your hat.
I try and write 12 poetries in a year, so once a month. So that is the endeavor. At least I should write, I should put my thoughts.
Okay.
I should put my thoughts together and write at least one poetry in a month. So same goes with the book. I mean, I try and finish more than 12 books in a year.
Okay.
And at least one poetry each month.
Okay.
So I don't, I don't lose my knack of either reading.
Mm-hmm. Deepti and have live started? Is it? I don't know. Okay.
Deepti, I mean, I received a message at 6 that I have to log in at 6:15.
Why?
Then there is no
Okay.
sight of Deepti. When I logged in at 6:50.
Okay. Now I think we should start on that session. I was just casually chatting, thinking that it was not live. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, hello everyone. A very good evening to all of you and who are watching us live on Facebook and YouTube. This is Swarna, and I'm going to moderate this wonderful session today for you all tonight. So, with this noble aim of igniting the love and passion for reading, we have an incredible initiative that's launched called Pick a Book. And talking about Pick a Book, it's a global movement envisioned to bring back the golden habit of reading by deepening the love for reading books and enhancing the long-lasting social interactions with like-minded people. So this Why I Read segment is an initiative of Pick a Book to bring onto the show the iconic personalities, successful individuals, the leaders who are readers to share their successful journey and how reading has impacted them to be who they are today. So be it their personal development or a professional growth ladder. And with that, let me now invite our guest, Mr. Abishek Mishra, with a huge round of applause. Yeah. So to know more about Abhishek, he is a qualified chartered accountant and runs the financial engine at Trimurti. He has been heading financial administration of the group since 2006 and also handles operations and business development of the education vertical of the group. So with his sound professional background and expertise, Abhishek has built a very organized financial structure and processes in the company prior to joining the family business. Prior to joining the family business, he has worked with Star TV India, Mumbai as a manager corporate finance. So he also writes poetry and some of his works have been published in popular magazines and newspapers. Abhishek is associated with Young Indians, the YI of CII, and actively involved in various events in Jaipur. So he's a director at Trimurti Colonizers and Builders Jaipur. He is an avid reader, and he says his favorite author is Paulo Coelho. And he's also a fitness enthusiast, regular at running, squash, swimming, and cycling. And he's currently reading Iako, an autobiography of Lee Iako. So with that, let's move on to know more from himself about his, success journey. And Mr. Abishek Mishra, once again, very warm welcome.
Thank you so much, Swarna, for having me here with you.
Yes. So I think after I've spoken to you, I think you have much more bigger bio than what I've just now read. So you are into multiple fields. So let's discuss going further. Okay, so because we are talking about more of books and the reading part of it, let me start with my first question. So when did you start reading?
I think many in the audience would not have known that. Before the session that I was telling you. So my reading journey had started in 2008. So like I was jokingly telling you that my reading journey also had started through a South Indian friend of mine from Kerala, who would always tell me that North Indians are never reading, so always interested in making money. So the first book that she gave me was Love Story by Eric Siegel. And then she followed up also. I thought she'll give me the book and then forget about it, but then she never forgot about it. So
Okay.
after her continuous persuasion for 3 4 days, I had to read it because then it was a girl, and you know how girls are. I mean,
Yeah.
when they decide, man has to follow. So yeah, I read the book. It was a nice book. Then she followed it up with another book of Khalil Gibran,
Okay.
and then one book. I'll try to remember. I'll try and remember. So she continuously gave me 5 6 really really nice books.
Mm.
So one was a biplane by written by somebody. Then many Ernest Hemingway, one book by written by him. So nice books. I mean, she was into fiction, so initially she gave me fiction, and
Okay.
then I started developing a taste for it, and then I got into my own taste.
Great.
The type of books that I wanted to read. So it initially started with self-help books. How could I
Mm.
improve myself? Then eventually I graduated to fiction,
Okay.
also non-fiction, business books, and then whatever books I like. So today I would not say that my genre is X, Y, or Z, but then whichever book I put my hands on, and I just do a bit of reading books so that I just don't land up on any book, because book also is like a life partner. So if
Yeah.
if you get along with a bad book, I mean, you can't leave it midway, you can't finish it also. So it becomes an ordeal. So I'm a little bit
Exactly.
careful whenever I pick up a book, so yeah.
That's
So
great. That's
so I
wonderful.
so I do some
And
Aquarium good reads, and like that.
yeah, wonderful. So, and on this Women's Day, especially, it's so very interesting to know that a woman inspired you to get into this habit of reading. So that's so good to all kudos to her. And great. So that's a great analogy. Yeah, one has to stick to the book. So I like how they have to stick to their wife. So so choose. Better be careful before choosing that to repent later. Okay. So you have started reading as later as in 2008 or so. So how was it reading for you when you started, and how is it now? Um,
Really, I mean, when I would see people carrying books in the airplanes when I would travel, I would wonder, because I, being a chartered accountant, pursued cost accountancy and then many other academic degrees.
mhm,
I would always wonder, I mean, because we had a habit of reading a book the way we would read a course book.
mm,
I would wonder, I mean, 500-page book, would he take a year to finish it? Because, that was our idea to read a book, that, we'll underline it,
mm,
mug it up, and then, it is. So my concept of book reading
mm.
was like that. I mean, as a course book. So initially, I would always wonder that, I just cannot lay my hands on these heavy books. But once you start reading, you get to understand that books are faster to read vis-a-vis your
Mm.
course books, and you really, it grows onto you. I mean, it is some passion that grows onto you.
Yep.
Now I have a busy life. I mean, after yeah, I have a busy life. I have a marriage to take care of. I have a
Mm,
small son to take care of. I have a business to run. But
mm.
even then, I ensure that every day, so that is how one decides. Every day, I try and read at least 20 pages. If
Okay.
not more, I try and read 20 pages. So in a year, my endeavor is to finish more than 12 books. So I
Wow.
may not be able to read 40 50 books in a year, but then that is
Mm,
my endeavor, because I want to learn, and books have really helped me
mm,
grow as an individual. I mean, one may say that as a passing reference, one may not even mean it when he says that, but I
mm.
really mean it when I say it. Not every book has inspired me, but then at least I would say, a dozen of them have inspired me, or they've made me a better person in business, in
Exactly.
personal life.
Exactly. Yeah, I just can't agree more on that because they say that, one page on one line in a book can change the life for good. So, yeah, right, rightly said. Not all the books will inspire, but then the book that inspires you, can take you to the next level. So that's the goodness and beauty of the books. So wonderful to know that. So what is your favorite genre? Like, how do you pick the books? Um,
See, like I said, initially I started with fiction,
hmm,
because I think to get yourself interested in books, The best way is to start with a fiction, a book on fiction, because you
Okay.
can finish it faster. You can read it faster. Even if you run through some pages faster than the previous pages, at least you don't lose
Yeah.
the essence of the book. Vis-a-vis
Mm.
picking up a business book, where if you don't read it carefully,
Mm.
then the essence will be lost. So you don't just want to read a book for the sake of it. You want to really drive home some points.
Mm.
So, I have my favorites from all the genres. I mean, if I talk about fiction, then the favorite book that I can remember is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I mean, I have virtually read all the books written by Paulo Coelho. I mean, I think I've read almost all the books.
Okay.
Zahir, 11 Minutes. I mean, Devil and Miss Prime, and The Archer. And I think the last book was Archer. I think I've read almost all the
Mm.
books of him,
Okay.
but none of the book has inspired me more than Alchemist,
Mm.
because probably that is one thought that
Mm.
was always there in my mind. So, Shah Rukh Khan famously had copied that dialogue in a Hindi movie, and then I think people think Shah Rukh Khan said that, or some Hindi writer said that, but yeah,
The Om Shanti Om dialogue, right?
yeah. So the credit has to be given to Paulo Coelho, and in
Paulo
real life
Coelho.
also I've seen that whatever I have desired for, and I've strongly desired for, and I've worked for it, things have fallen in place, and nature has really conspired in a manner that I've been able to achieve the intended results. I think that is one book that I really liked. Then much before I started reading as a reader in 2008, long ago, during my CA days, I had read Wings of Fire
Yeah.
by
Abdul
APJ Abdul
Kalam.
Kalam. So my boss under whom I was training, he gave me that book when I failed in one of my CA inter attempts.
Okay.
He gave me that book to read to inspire myself. And I think I thoroughly
Mm.
drew a lot of inspiration from the life of APJ Abdul Kalam, what I got to know from that book. So that is,
Mm.
I would say, one autobiography that inspired me a lot. One book of, in my real life, the book written by Subroto Bagchi. I have read Elephant Catcher written by him. I have read
Mm.
the book titled Cell, written
Okay.
by. So Elephant Catcher is a more famous book of Subroto Bagchi, but more than Elephant Catcher,
Yeah.
I drew inspiration from the book Cell, because in real life, see,
Mm.
it was a real book written by a real salesperson in life,
Okay.
and because when he started selling, and I could correlate. I mean, I could correlate with so many of my selling efforts
Yes.
with the selling efforts of Subroto Bagchi, what he mentioned in that book, and I could relate with that. Only maybe I was selling something worth 50 lakh rupee, 1 crore rupee. Maybe Subroto Bagchi's deals were much bigger than the deals that I was making. But
Mm.
then, yeah, so I drew home some points, and I really thought that maybe I'm moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
So when I read the book Cell, I mean, it had, I won't say it had many ideas to offer me, because many of those ideas I was actually implementing in my real life. But then it somewhere reinstated that faith in me that, yeah, I'm pushing myself in the right direction. So that is one book I greatly, I remember.
Okay.
Last year, I read one book, Blue Ocean Strategy. It's an old book, so they have
Mm.
been reprinting it, republishing it with some
Okay.
more additional pages. So I finally lay my hands on Blue Ocean Strategy last year.
Mm.
So really a great book, that I read last year. Many
Yeah.
books like that. The real life story, A Man's Search for Meaning.
Wow.
I presented it in one of the PAB sessions also last year
Great.
during the heights of Corona.
Mm.
So it talks about logotherapy and how to deal with the situation. So
Yes.
I think Lord Buddha had some wisdom, so it has flown down. So logotherapy also,
Mm.
Stoicism followed some teachings of Buddha, and
Mm.
then logotherapy is some form of Stoicism. So yeah, these are
Okay.
some good books.
Yeah. Wonderful. So we have got quite a list of good books here. So now I could quickly catch few of them. So definitely I'm going to read also. I'll start with, I think, the book Cell. I just want to go through that. Uh, Good. Thank you for that. And when did this your entrepreneurship journey started? Like, yeah, soon after you finished your CA, when did you come into the business field?
In fact, I never wanted to join business in the first place. When I
Mm.
wanted to build a career in corporate. So as soon as my CA was over,
Mm.
I picked up the first possible flight to Bombay, joined Star TV in their corporate finance division. Then I was,
Okay.
doing SOX 404 audit in Star TV. Yeah, so I had a happy a couple of
I
years in
love
Bombay.
it.
Happy bachelor life in Bombay. You know, going from a much smaller city like Jaipur in 2004.
Okay.
But then, going from a business family, I kept on receiving regular calls from my father. That
Okay. Okay.
what is your salary? So, at that time my salary was 55,000 rupees per
Hmm.
month in 2005. So
Okay.
father would tell me, this is the salary I give it to my general manager. So, why don't you join me and I'll pay you that salary? So eventually
Okay.
I joined my family business.
Okay.
I started participating actively in the family business in 2006.
Okay.
But then, it grows onto you. I mean, when you have to, you have to be in business to understand what business,
Exactly.
what underlying rush a
Hmm.
business can offer you.
Oh,
That a
yes.
job maybe a job, a job can also offer you, but maybe, what you
More on the
feel as an
passive
entrepreneur,
side. Ah,
yeah,
yes.
cracking a deal or maybe, doing something.
Ah,
I think the platform is much more bigger.
yes.
So I've thoroughly enjoyed my, 50, so yeah, in my weak moments, I do think I should have gone back. I should
Hmm.
have never come, but yeah, I think 9 on 10 occasions, I think I made the right decision to, yeah,
Awesome.
join this journey.
Wonderful. So, okay. I mean, is there any particular book you would name that changed the kind of perspective of something which you have been believing? Say you've been believing some belief whatsoever you had it so far, and a book kind of totally changed it. So, is there any book you can think of?
Yeah, see, book, the art of, see, there are many books. I mean, I would say many books have changed me in many ways,
Hmm.
no doubt. Like, I read one book by Dalai Lama, The Art of Good Life. I
Okay,
think I read it
pandemic times. Is it?
during the pandemic time again. And, probably, we get a bit restless. I would say I would get, even today, I get a bit restless
Mm.
looking at various scenarios in personal and professional life.
Yes.
So a book by say Dalai Lama, where he claimed naivety over many things for about which he could not have answered.
Mm.
I really liked such books wherein he answered thoroughly in the areas where he really thought he had the answers. I mean, in the areas where he really thought that he had no answers,
Okay.
he was open and honest about it. That I have no clue, I have no, I have no answer to it.
Okay.
Similarly, the man's book,
Search
Man's Search
for
for Meaning.
meaning.
Yeah,
Mm.
these are some books that really, I would say, I won't say they have changed me. I mean, but
Mm.
yeah, I handle my situations. I think on more occasions than not, I'm
Yes.
able to handle my situations better.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's what I meant actually also, because in day-to-day scenarios, a lot of us are lost. Without any answers. How do we go about it? We have a problem, we have a challenge, and we get more and more depressed, more and more into that problem. So, other than that, reading such books will kind of help us to get out of those problems, at least understand the problem and move out of it. We'll have a different solutions. So yeah, so those are really great books, I would say.
And
And
why, one more thing I would like to add is that,
mm,
see, we are all common human beings. I mean,
yes,
I'm sure none of us have the intellect that say somebody like Mahatma Gandhi
yes,
attained at a certain age after rigorously practicing
mm,
something for decades. So it is imperative on our part to continue the reading journey. I mean,
yes,
not that I read a book 20 years ago, Wings of Fire by APJ Abdul Kalam, and it doesn't stay in our mind. So
yes,
we have to constantly keep reading something so that
mm,
good things stay in our mind.
exactly. Exactly. That I agree with it. We just can't read a book and leave it forever. So, because every book will have its own perspective. Every book they'll have something or the other to learn. So, yeah, that's greatly useful for a lot of us. So, what are the challenges, you have to overcome at the beginning of your entrepreneurship journey when you entered into the business? So, what is that first challenge you thought, wow, this is like, it's very difficult. That put you in a difficult situation.
See, I would say, I think, India is a vast country, and vis-a-vis say operating or doing some business in Bombay can be much different than running a business in Delhi. And it can again be much different than doing business in Jaipur and maybe doing in Bangalore.
Yeah.
So I think, professionalism, when I started my journey in Jaipur, I battled professionalism as my first challenge. Somebody would tell you that I'm coming at 11 a.m. Like today, we decided that we are virtually meeting at 6:30. None of us had to remind each other that, oh, don't forget to be there at 6:30. I mean, we can decide upon a date, say 15 days later than today, and then still be present. So I think that is one challenge that thoroughly such things happen. So just what happened. So unprofessionalism by my own team member. When he knows I'm talking to somebody, also he'll stand in front of me and tell me that, a client has bought 5 lakh rupees. What is to be done? So Jaipur, I mean, I thoroughly struggled starting my career in Bombay. Then coming to a city like Jaipur, professionalism was totally lacking. There was no respect of time. I would say 8 on 10 people who have no respect of time even today. They would give you time, not turn up. Another challenge, what I really have tried my level best to improve in my generation, I mean, we are still young enough, is casteism. I mean, till my student days, I had no idea. I really had no idea because I was open-minded. I had a career in Bombay. I started a career in Bombay, and I would not even know, and really I saw in a place like Bombay in a corporate. There were Muslims at the helm of top of the, on the top, at the top of the hierarchy, you would have Christians, Muslims, people from all over the country, from all over the community. That thing you don't see in a place like Jaipur. It is, a caste based, and there are people who want to operate in those silos because somewhere it suits some of them. So I've been trying to battle that perception for the last 16 years.
Okay.
So I would say, at least in my dealings, I mean, I have been able to change that.
Awesome.
So these are typical issues, I mean, that you face in a tier 2 city like Jaipur.
Exactly. See, those challenges are really tough. It's not easy as said. And in practical, especially when the practices are there for years together, so changing that system itself is like, the biggest challenge probably. You may have been dealing with it even now. So yeah, good. Okay, so the moment you entered into your entrepreneurship journey, so it's like I think that's the same question. So if you want to describe success, from your perspective, so how do you define that?
Really, I mean, the connotations of success has been changing with me with the age, I would say. When maybe 15, 16 years ago, cracking a deal and making some money out of it would give me a lot of pleasure that, I've earned money. Now that I'm 41 and, the connotations are again changing, where, I started thinking that, we are into building construction business from 1995.
Okay.
So, now I've started feeling that, anybody in my team, I mean, we directly, indirectly are impacting, say, around 700, 800 people in our system. So the thoughts have been changing. I mean, now I feel that, I won't say that we have grown really big, but then after a certain point of time, that your requirements are limited, your expenditures are limited. So why are you working? So there are many people who have already started within my own friends group. They have started talking about it that, why do we need to work hard? I think now after a certain age, when you have been constantly working, you need to still work hard for wealth creation, in the system, and for the wealth that goes to the society or the people around you. I would make tall claims that, for me, the society is not the country. For me, the society is the set of people who are working with me. If I have a group of 700, 800 families associated with us, at least, by the end of their, by the time they are 60, at least everybody of them should have a house, working in a company which is into constructing houses.
Exactly.
So somewhere, I mean, the connotations have been changing.
Okay.
So I want that, the company should grow in a manner wherein everybody also becomes rich in the system.
Hmm. That's very nice. That's very nice. Exactly. I mean, if you just cater the needs of people around you, then that's what makes the society. So you just don't have to look at it, in the country point of view. You can just do good to your own people. That makes a lot of difference. That's a great analogy. Thank you so much. And Mr. Abhishek, like before, we're talking that you are into writing poetry, writing books as well. So can you just throw our audience some light on that? So how did you get into that? So what inspired you? Okay, I understand a woman or friend of yours who inspired you to get into reading. So what is your inspiration behind writing poetry?
Uh, yeah, again, there is a woman behind it. I mean, when I was a small child, the first poetry that I wrote was when I was around 10 years old.
Oh,
So my
okay.
mother would always call me names. I mean, there was a certain Hindi term that she had coined for me that would bother me a lot.
Okay.
Bepende ka lota. So she would always tell me that, I don't stick to my point of view, and I keep,
Changing.
I keep shifting my stand between my father and my mother. So to give
Okay.
her an answer, I wrote a poetry on that term that she used for me, Bepende ka lota. So that was widely appreciated in the family. So I've always been writing. So I'm 41 year old. So I've been writing. I would say that I've been writing from the past 30 years.
Oh, wow.
So I've been writing poetries in my school days. I would even write short stories.
Okay.
So writing has come to me naturally. I would say that I've been writing on everything. Again, like I said in book, there is no certain genre on which there is no certain genre that I follow. In writing also, I write on my kids, I've written on my mother, I've written on my father, I've written on my wife, I've written on the
Okay.
intricacies of life, I've
Okay.
written on weather, I've
Mm.
written on adversaries. I write on anything that affects me.
Mm.
So
Yeah, right.
day before I wrote on spring, because
Okay.
Jaipur has been witnessing really pleasant weather,
Oh, okay.
and spring is called as the king of all seasons.
Yeah.
So I wrote on spring day before yesterday.
Okay. Wonderful. It looks like, we have met a right person on this occasion of Women's Day. You're totally inspired by a lot of women in water, be it reading or be it writing. That's great to know that. Okay, so yeah, so I mean, if you want to share one of your poems with us, that would be great. If you can read it for us, so we'll be loving that.
Oh, I mean, you should, yeah,
Yeah, you can read.
you should never encourage a
Okay.
poet to start talking about poetry, because then he
Oh,
doesn't know. The poets do not know when to stop. So I don't know among the audience. I mean, how good is their Hindi? I mean, maybe I'm underestimating it, but the one that
No.
I wrote on spring is in Hindi. So do you still want
Oh,
me to
yeah.
read it out?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can read it out.
I'll try and read it out as good as well as I can.
Hmm.
सो बसंत में चलती कुछ नरम सी कुछ गर्म सी ये मध्यम मध्यम हवा कानों में फुसफुसाती एहसास मेरे मन को बार बार कुछ कराती कुछ सर्दी के होने का कुछ सर्दी के चले जाने का याद एक साथ रह जाने का दूर अपने किसी से बिछड़ जाने का किसी आवाज का कानों में गूंजने का और हमारे कुछ भी ना कर पाने का एहसास एक बिरहा का एक टीस का कुछ गर्मी के आने का रेनू में तितलियों के मंडराने का पंछियों के कहकहाने का पौधों पर नए फूलों का पेड़ों पर नए पत्तों का नई उम्मीद का नए रिश्तों का बसंत में चलती कुछ नर्म सी कुछ गर्म सी ये मध्यम मध्यम हवा कानों में फुसफुसाती एहसास मेरे मन को बार बार कुछ कराती दिस इज व्हाट आई रोट
Wow, that's so wonderful. That's so soothing to hear. Seriously. It's as if I'm feeling the spring already. So,
आई जस्ट होप इट वाज एज गुड एज यू सेड इट इज
oh, it is. It is really. The poetry nowadays. It was the life of a poet's few decades back, the poets were like very famous, very well treated, I think, in a king's time. But later, because of the Western culture, the beauty of poetry has, gone down a bit. So again, now I think it is again coming up. I see a lot of people writing the poetry, and poetry is one of the best ways of expression, right? Yeah. So it sounds so soothing also, because you follow some rhythm to it. The words or whatever it is that has a rhythm. So wonderful, very nice.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes. So one day I probably may invite you for an author saga. We have something called author saga, where we invite the authors to speak about their writing. So I think probably I can invite you on that, and we can exclusively speak on your poetry.
Oh, that would be such a great pleasure, getting that honor.
Yeah, great. Thank you for reading that for us. And okay, so if I ask you to describe yourself, so you have been into. I think there's a lot of things that went on in your life, and still going on. You're still you're an educationalist, and you're even a student now, and you're also into business, and you are into poetry. You read books. Like, there are a lot of feathers in your hat. So if I want you to describe yourself in just 3 words, so how do you describe yourself?
See, yeah, it's a very, very difficult thing to describe my own self. But then, yeah, maybe I can say that I'm a God-fearing, God-loving person. I wouldn't say I'm a God-fearing, a God-loving person.
Okay.
And I want to do good in life. I don't want to be remembered as X, Y, or Z. That doesn't really bother me what people think about me. But then, yeah, I have high expectations for my own self in life.
Okay.
So I'm striving to, fulfill my own expectations.
Okay.
Be it as a student, be it in work. My own expectations are there, and I have great faith in the Almighty. And if anybody I want to please, I'm trying to please Him and meet my own set of expectations.
Wonderful. Good. Okay, so let's shall we have a quick rapid fire? Maybe it's about the books. I don't trouble you much on other things, but can we have it? Just a quick one.
Totally up to you. I'm your guest.
Okay. So what's your favorite book?
Okay. My God. Yeah. Okay. Cell.
Cell. Okay. So your favorite author? I think we
Paulo Coelho.
Yeah. So okay, first ever book you have read? I think we have
Love Story by Rick Siegel.
Yeah. Okay. So the one book which always takes the best place of your shelf.
Love Story by Eric Siegel. I don't have a count of other books, but Eric Siegel is still there.
Great. Okay, so your favorite place you visited?
The favorite place I visited? Yeah, I think the mountains in Switzerland that I visited in 2015.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a difficult question. I think Bhutan, where I visited in 2017, takes the cake. I think, there is no better place than Bhutan.
That Bhutan, absolutely. We cannot forget that.
Such a lovely place.
Wonderful. Okay, so what is your favorite spot for reading? Your favorite place, or what is that one place where you?
My sofa.
Your sofa. Your couch.
Where from I can see the old city of Jaipur. The old capital of Jaipur, which is Amer. That is very, very much visible from my dining area.
Wonderful.
And that remains my favorite place.
Great. Okay, so your most valuable possession you feel great about?
My valuable possession is the wealth of knowledge that is there here. Everything else can go away.
Exactly. That is one thing nobody can snatch it from you.
Unless somebody hits on my head.
But still they can't get it, no? They can't do any.
So I think this is the greatest possession. I know for sure that by God's grace I can start from anywhere, anytime.
Absolutely. Right. Great. Thank you so much for being such a sport. And I just loved the kind of conversation we had. And lastly, before we close this session, I just want your piece of advice for the younger generation, especially.
Oh my God, yeah, that reminds me that I'm becoming old.
At least the Gen Z generation. We can call ourselves as millennials, but what is your suggestion for Gen Z?
Yeah, I have a great, I have a great aversion when I see my own niece and nephews. I mean, the current generation is totally hooked up on social media, which I really doubt can be changed because they are all glued to it. It's like an addiction; they are totally addicted to it. So I think it's just like taking away something that they so much value.
Mm.
So I think, yeah, I would just want them to read real books, then invest time reading on social media. Social media is all gossip. I mean, things are coming to you from unverified sources.
Yeah.
Uh, even if you even if you want to read a news, try and reading a newspaper, then reading the
Exactly.
news on a social media, or then watching a news channel. I mean, things are quicker, and when things are so quick, one doesn't take pains to verify it. I mean, every evening when I go back home, there is something running on TV nowadays
Mm.
about Ukraine crisis, and the news anchor will always tell me, "Abhi बहुत important
Mm.
खबर आई है." And every news for him is very very important
Very,
cover that
very.
has come to him.
Yeah.
Abhi Russia ने ऐसा कहा है, so it is all sensation. So I really think, I really wish that the current generation picks up a habit of reading some hardbound books.
Absolutely.
Not everything is good on social media. Not everything can be read. I mean, the feel, the touch and feel of a
Mm.
book. Once they start doing that, they'll only understand the value of it.
Exactly. I
The smell
totally
that comes
agree.
from a real book.
Oh, yes. That's beautiful. Oh yes, that is nothing can beat that. In fact, having that book live in your hands and you're turning the pages, nothing can beat that feeling. So that is a very very nice. Yeah, exactly what you said is absolutely right in terms of social media. It is getting very difficult to take it out from their lives, but then they are living in that false world, like where everything is shown as much larger than life, so which is not true. So I think very soon, let's hope that this generation will very soon get out of those clutches of social media and start living the real life. Much beautiful, the real life is much much more beautiful outside the social media. Great. Thank you for that valuable suggestion. So thank you so much for your time today. That's been a wonderful conversation all through while. So we are so happy to have you today. And on this special Women's Day, it's even more special that you are inspired into this great habit by two most beautiful women in your life. And great. So we the Pick a Book also, greatly support. And in fact, the Pick a Book is the concept is to get people into the habit of reading. So on that note, we are very grateful to have people like you who are absolutely promote reading and, yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I mean, I'm sure any session can become wonderful if there is
Yeah.
somebody like you on the other end.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for that. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you,
so much.
Mr. Abhishek. And thank you, my lovely audience, for joining us today and sparing your time with us. And I hope you enjoy the session as much as we loved doing it. Thank you so much. See you all again in the next session. And till then, goodbye and take care.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Have a good day.